This is Ranjit again in front of you with yet another topic in JavaScript. So today I wish to explain to you a new keyword that has been introduced in ECMAScript 6, that is ES6 or ECMAScript 2016. ECMAScript 2016 was one of the popular version of JavaScript used nowadays. The main point is like the TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript, as everybody explains. Like it's a typed language, TypeScript, introduced by Microsoft. So TypeScript is actually a modification. Like if you check TypeScript, it seems to be a modification from the ES6 version. Like if you add few features to ES6 version, it will be TypeScript. So that is the speciality of ES6. Likewise, this introduction of this keyword let is one of the pioneer changes they have made in ES6. Okay. So let and var. So we have two options in JavaScript now. Let and var. From ES6 we have two options, let and var, to declare a variable. So even though they have the same functionality, there are minor differences between these two ways of declaring variable in JavaScript. So let me come to the program that I have written for you. Okay, so here I would like to explain it quickly. So here if you can see inside the function, I have an if statement which is checks whether A is true. So if A is true, like I am declaring a variable with var keyword product ID. So I am consoling it inside the if statement, inside this curly braces, as well as outside the curly braces of if, that is here. So let's check the output. So you can see 20 is printed 2 times. That is, one console is inside the if statement, other is outside the if statement. So here product ID, which is declared inside this if statement, has access to this product ID has access here inside the if statement, as well as the function here. While if I replace this var with a let us see what happens. Saving it, running it again. So if you can see, it prints 20 inside the if statement, but outside if statement it is throwing an error, uncaught reference error, product ID is not defined. Okay. This is the main difference between var and a let. Let is having block scoping. So this is the time we need to understand what a block scoping is in JavaScript. So a block of code means any number of code written between two curly braces. Like that, two curly braces can be anything. It can be a function opening and closing, an if statement opening and closing, an else statement opening and closing, or anything like that, any control statement, anything. So any group of code which is written inside two curly braces is called a block of code. So here let's analyze what is happening here. So here we have, this is one of the block of code, that is the code written inside this function, as well as another block of code is the code written in between the curly braces of if statement. So I have explained to you let is having block scoping. So this product ID which is declared with let keyword will have access only inside this block of code. So for this product ID declared using let will be invisible outside this block of code. Outside this block of code meaning inside the function itself here. So this is one of the difference between var and let. Let me repeat you once again. Let is having block scoping while var is having functional scoping. But you cannot say like let is having block scoping alone. It is having functional scoping as well. So this is one of the pioneer difference between var and let. Another difference is let will not get hoisted as in var. So if you have seen my previous video regarding hoisting in JavaScript, you will be getting a clear idea what I'm talking about here. So let doesn't have the speciality that we get with hoisting. That is, let will not get hoisted. That is, the keyword, like the variable declared using let, should be used only after getting declared. You cannot use it unless or until it is declared. It will not get hoisted. So another difference between let and var is its behavior inside a for loop. So I'm taking you to another function that I have written here. So here I have changed the content of the function previously. So here I do have a for loop inside this function, test function. And if you see inside the for loop, I am using the seed variable declared with var. And inside this for loop, set timeout function is called. As you all know, set timeout is a function in JavaScript. So any block of code inside a set timeout will be executed after so and so milliseconds that I am referring as a second argument to this function. So console.log I will be executed each time after 10 milliseconds. So this program will work in a way that, so my prediction will be each time, like I will be iterating from 0 to 10. So my expectation is this console.log I should print like 0 to say 9 or 10 max, right? So it should print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's see what the output will be in this case. I'm saving the code, going to the page. You can see it is printing 10, just 10, and that too 10 times. So let's go back to the code. So here I'm replacing this var with let. So obviously my expectation will be like it should print from 0, say 10, right? Or 9 maybe. Okay, so I'm saving the code and executing it again. Okay, so here when I replaced var with a let, my expectation has been met. So it is printing from 0 till 9. So let's see what is happening here. Okay, so hope many of you wouldn't get the point what I was trying to say here, but we'll see what it is. So if you go to the code, so if you are declaring it a var, what happens here is, so set timeout is an asynchronous set of code, is executing an asynchronous set of code, meaning this console.log will be executed after 10 milliseconds. So when the iterative value is 0 and when it comes to set timeout, it will continue and iterate by incrementing the value of I, and I will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. This iteration will happen till 10. So like this will happen before 10 milliseconds. That is, the incrementation of I and iteration of the loop will be closed by the time the console.log I for the first time will be executed. I am repeating it again. So like say we are debugging the code. So my first value is I equal to 0 and it comes to set timeout, and it will continue execution with I equal to 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So iteration will happen till I is 10 until this condition fails. So this much iteration or this incremental iteration happens within 10 milliseconds because JavaScript engine executes fast. So here we are giving a timeout time of 10 milliseconds. So between like 0 to 10 milliseconds itself, this iteration finishes. So after 10 milliseconds, when JavaScript trying to execute this console.i's value will be 10. So each time this set timeout is registered. So each time, so after 10 milliseconds, again the other iterations set timeout works. So like that. So at the end of first iteration itself, this value of I will be 10 already. So from this, what we can understand is the same I is shared between all these stack frames executed, right? I from 1 to 10. While in the case of let, what happens is, so let, the speciality is inside a for loop, let will create a brand new instance for each iteration. So first when it hits set timeout with I equal to 0, it will have one copy of I, and that copy remains in this closure. So when I is equal to 1, again it creates another instance of I. Again in the next iteration, it will again create another instance of I. So each function execution inside the set timeout will get its own copy of I with a specified value from 0 till 9. So this is the reason why we are getting the output from 0 to 9 like this. But the main problem in this case is, so say this value 10 is very less now, but say if it is 10,000, if this is 10,000, this iteration is happening 10,000 times and 10,000 copies of I will be created. That is a problem now because it is taking that much of memory. So it's not recommendable to use this approach. So just consider this video to convey this knowledge of this difference between var and let in JavaScript. Thank you so much.